Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really focusing in on something super useful in the work world, Lean Six Sigma.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're hearing about improving quality, being more efficient,
Mm,
well, that's what we're digging into.
exactly. And the goal here really is to get you ready. We're unpacking the basics you need for the Management and Strategy Institute's White Belt Certification exam.
That's the plan. Think of it as a toolkit, something practical to understand how work actually gets done, and crucially, how to make it better. It's used everywhere.
All sorts of industries. Right?
Totally. And this deep dive, it's designed to give you that solid foundation you need.
So our mission today, crystal clear, give you the core Lean Six Sigma White Belt concepts. Everything you need for that exam.
It's your pathway, those essential building blocks.
And this white belt.
Yeah.
It's the starting point, yeah.
Exactly. It's entry level. It tells people you have a basic grasp of what Six Sigma is.
So maybe you work somewhere using these methods, but you're not like leading the projects yourself.
Precisely. You might be on the team or in a department where it's happening. The white belt gives you the language, the basic understanding of what's going on around you. It's that crucial first overview.
Okay, makes sense. So let's jump right in. Where did this whole idea even originate for folks like us needing to know?
Well, it's actually pretty interesting. It's not ancient history or anything. It really got going back in 1986.
Oh, wow. Relatively recent.
Yeah, with a guy named Bill Smith. He was working at Motorola at the time.
Motorola, okay.
And he was really fascinated with improving how things got done, making processes way more efficient, especially in manufacturing, maximizing output.
So getting the most out of the production line.
Exactly. And his big idea, the core insight really, was that the best way to boost production is to minimize the mistakes, the defects.
Ah, so quality over just quantity.
Kind of, yeah. It wasn't just churning out more, it was making better stuff consistently. His whole approach was built on this idea of continuous improvement.
Always tweaking, always refining.
Right. Think about it. Every mistake isn't just a bad part. It's wasted time, wasted energy, maybe even lost customer trust down the line.
That ripple effect.
Exactly. Smith saw that and wanted a system to prevent it before it happened.
And this applies beyond manufacturing, right?
Oh, totally. He hit on something fundamental. Pretty much any process you can think of, whether it's making a phone or handling a support ticket.
Like anything you might do at work.
Right. It can be measured. You can collect data. Then you analyze that data, figure out how to improve things based on what the data tells you.
Not just gut feelings.
No, definitely not gut feelings. And then, this is key, you put controls in place so the improvements stick, so the process stays better.
So it's a cycle. Measure, analyze, improve, control.
You got it. That ongoing cycle reduces the variations, the inconsistencies, and gets you closer to what the customer actually wants. Six Sigma is huge on data.
You mentioned that. No guesswork.
None. It's about measuring the real impact of changes. And you need buy-in, across the business, based on hard facts, data, not just someone's opinion or assumption. Assumptions just don't fly.
Okay, so we have the origin, the focus on data. Now, these belts, you hear about green belts, black belts. What's the deal with the different colored belts? What do they mean for you?
Yeah, the belts. Think of them as defining roles on a project team. It's a clear way to show who does what, who's responsible for different parts of an improvement project. It gives structure.
So for someone aiming for the white belt, like our listeners,
Yeah.
Where do you fit in?
Good question. Like we said, white belt is the entry point. It means you understand the basics, the core concepts.
So you're probably not running the show.
Probably not leading projects directly, no. You understand the language, you know what Six Sigma is trying to achieve, maybe you contribute information to a project happening in your area. It's foundational knowledge.
Got it. Foundational. So what's the next step up if someone wants to get more involved?
That would usually be the yellow belt. Yellow belts are often subject matter experts.
Experts in their specific job or process?
Exactly. They know their area inside out. They might not lead projects either, but they provide really valuable information, data, and insights to the project leaders, especially green belts. They're the go-to people for deep process knowledge.
Okay, so they support the green belts, and the green belts are.
Green belts are usually employees who actually lead smaller Six Sigma projects, often alongside their regular job duties.
Ah, so it's part of their role, not their whole job necessarily.
Often, yeah. They work under the guidance of a black belt. Their focus is on identifying problems, digging into the root causes, and then actually implementing and sustaining the improvements. They do a lot of the hands-on work.
Okay, hands-on. Which brings us to the black belts. They must be the main project leaders then.
Yes, black belts typically lead more complex, cross-functional Six Sigma projects full-time. They need a deep understanding of the methodology, the statistical tools.
Or leadership skills too, presumably.
Absolutely. Strong leadership, project management skills are crucial to guide the team and deliver results.
Right. Then there are a couple more levels, master, black belt, and champion.
Yep. The master black belt is like the guru, the expert's expert. They train and mentor black belts and green belts. They provide high-level strategic advice on complex projects. Often they help deploy Six Sigma across an entire organization.
The sensei? Kind of.
Yeah. And the champion. That's usually a senior executive, someone high up.
Management buy-in we talked about earlier.
Exactly. The champion sponsors the project. They have the authority to provide resources, time, money, people. They make sure the project aligns with business goals and remove roadblocks. They're critical for success at a higher level.
Okay, that paints a clear picture. It's a whole structured team. Now, you mentioned earlier DMAIC. That sounds really important, especially for you preparing for the exam.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. DMAIC is the core Six Sigma problem-solving methodology. It's the step-by-step process nearly every project follows.
That structured approach you mentioned.
Right. It provides consistency and rigor.
So DMAIC. It's an acronym you definitely need to know. What's it stand for?
Okay, so D is for define, M is measure, A is analyze, I is improve, and C is control.
Define, measure, analyze, improve, control.
Got it. Let's break this down for you, the listener. Define what happens there.
Define is all about setting the stage, getting clear. You're identifying the specific problem you need to solve.
What exactly is broken or needs improving?
Right. And what's the scope? What's in the project? What's out? Who's on the team? Who are the stakeholders you know? Who cares about this project getting done? And why?
The why seems important.
Crucial. You also sketch out milestones, maybe an initial budget, basically getting everyone on the same page about what you're trying to achieve. Like, if customers are complaining shipping is slow,
Yeah.
define would be stating the problem. High customer complaints due to long delivery times. And maybe setting a goal. Reduce average delivery time by 2 days. Clear, specific.
Okay, setting the foundation. Then M, measure. What's the focus? Measure is about getting the facts. Establishing a baseline. Where are we now?
Before we change anything.
Exactly. You collect data related to the problem you just defined. And critically, you need to make sure your measurements are reliable. Are you actually measuring the right thing accurately?
Garbage in, garbage out, otherwise.
Precisely. So you develop a data collection plan. How much data do you need? Over how long? How will you collect it? Who collects it? Where does it get stored? It's about getting solid numbers to understand the current state and confirm how big the problem really is.
Data again. Okay, so you've got the data. Phase A, analyze.
Now you dig in. You take all that data you collected and measure, and analyze it.
Looking for clues.
Pretty much. Using various tools charts, statistics, process maps, you look for patterns, trends. You try to understand the cause and effect relationships. Why is the process behaving this way? What are the root causes of the problem? That's the main goal here.
Finding the why behind the what.
You got it.
Okay. Define the problem. Measured it. Analyze the causes. Next is I, improve. Sounds like solution time.
Exactly. Improve is where you take those root causes you found in analyze and figure out how to fix them.
Develop solutions.
Right. How can we eliminate or at least control these causes to make the process perform better? This often involves brainstorming, testing potential solutions, maybe even redesigning parts of the process.
Actually changing how the work gets done.
Yep. Finding and implementing the best fixes for those root causes.
Okay, so you've made the changes. How do you make sure they stick? That brings us to C, control.
Control is all about sustainability. You made improvements. Now how do you make sure the process stays improved?
Prevent it from slipping back to the old way.
Exactly. You need to put things in place to maintain the gains. Sometimes the best controls are built into the new process design, mistake proofing, for example.
So it's hard to do it wrong.
Ideally. But often it also involves documenting the new standard procedures, setting up monitoring systems, maybe checklists, creating a control plan so everyone knows how the new process works and how to keep it on track.
Okay. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. It feels very logical, very step-by-step for you to follow. And you said it's sequential.
Absolutely sequential. Each phase builds on the last one. You can't analyze properly without good data from measure. You can't improve effectively if you haven't analyzed the root causes.
Define seems critical then, getting that problem statement right up front.
Hugely critical. A clear definition sets the direction for everything else, and measure is vital for that baseline. And making sure your metrics are actually accurate before you start tracking improvement, you need that solid starting point.
Now, you mentioned something earlier, a
Oh,
formula, YFES++. Sounds a bit intimidating.
yeah.
Is that something you need to, like, memorize for the white belt exam?
Ugh, good practical question for anyone studying. Okay, so Six Sigma does use math and formulas sometimes to understand processes, but for the white belt level, no, you do not need to memorize that specific formula.
Okay, that's a relief for many, I bet.
Definitely. But understanding the idea behind it is helpful. Basically, Y is your outcome, the thing you want to improve. X represents the inputs or factors that influence that outcome, and F just means is a function of. The little epsilon is just acknowledging that there's always some random variation or noise in any real process.
So the result depends on the inputs, plus some randomness.
That's the gist of it. Outcomes, Y, are driven by inputs. So if you want to improve Y, you need to figure out and control the important X. Knowing the concept helps understand the logic, but don't sweat the formula itself for the white belt. Focus on DMAIC.
Okay, focus on the concepts, not the deep math. Got it. So after improve, you implement things carefully in control.
Right. You often pilot test the changes first on a small scale to make sure they work as expected. Then you monitor closely as you roll them out more broadly. It's about making sure the new way becomes the standard way, reliably.
And you mentioned how the belts fit into DMAIC, black belts involved early on.
Yeah, often a black belt works closely with leadership in the define stage. Their experience helps frame the problem effectively, make sure it's manageable, and align it with business needs.
And then green and yellow belts jump in more later.
Exactly. Measure, analyze, improve. That's often the core team. Green and black belts doing the detailed work. They'll pull in yellow belts for their deep process knowledge, talk to the people actually doing the job every day.
The process owners.
Right. Getting that practical insight is crucial.
And control's about handing it back.
Yeah, essentially. The project team helps implement the controls, trains people on the new process, but then the ownership transitions back to the team that runs the process day to day. The project team might monitor for a while to ensure it's stable, but the business owns it long term.
Okay. You listed some tools too. Process mapping, Pareto analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to be an expert user of these for white belt?
Another great practical question. For white and even yellow belt, generally no. You don't need deep training on using all those specific tools like Gauge R&R or DOE.
Sure.
However, it's really beneficial for you to be familiar with the names and have a basic idea of what they do.
Like know what a process map is, even if you don't draw one.
Exactly. Know that process mapping visually shows the steps. Know that Pareto analysis helps find the vital few, causes the 80-20 rule thing. Just having that awareness helps you understand what the project team, green black belts, might be talking about or doing. Familiarity, not expertise, is key at this level.
Okay, understand the concepts, know the terminology. That feels manageable for you. So Six Sigma, reducing variation, defects, using DMAIC. But the name is Lean Six Sigma. What's the lean part?
Ah, yes, lean. It's not separate, really. It's integrated. They work together beautifully. While Six Sigma is laser focused on defects and variation.
Making the process consistent and accurate.
Right. Lean is primarily focused on maximizing customer value while minimizing waste.
Waste, like wasted materials.
That's one type, yeah. But waste in lean is much broader. It's anything that consumes resources, time, effort, materials, space, but doesn't add value from the customer's perspective.
Ah, the customer's view is key.
Absolutely central. Lean aims to create more value for the customer with fewer resources. Think about waiting time in a hospital. Does the patient value waiting?
Definitely not.
Right. So that waiting time is waste. Lean tries to streamline the process, patient flow, paperwork, whatever, to cut out that non-value added waiting.
So efficiency, but specifically tied to what the customer cares about.
Precisely. A lean organization obsesses about understanding customer value, then focuses on the key processes that deliver that value, relentlessly stripping out waste. The goal is like perfect value through a perfect zero waste process.
So how do they define value and waste more formally?
Okay, value is what the customer is willing to pay for. It's the right product or service, right time, right price, with the features and performance they want. Waste, or muda in Japanese, where many lean concepts originated, is anything else. Any activity that uses resources but doesn't create value.
Examples?
Yeah.
Besides waiting.
Oh, tons. Excess inventory sitting around, moving things unnecessarily, producing more than needed or sooner than needed. Defects themselves are waste. Unnecessary steps in a process. Even untapped employee creativity can be seen as a waste.
Wow. Okay. It's a broad definition. So lean is about identifying and eliminating all that.
That's the core mission. Streamline processes by cutting out non-value-added steps. This reduces costs, shortens cycle times, how long it takes to do something, and frees up capacity.
And it's important to stress it's not about cutting people, right?
Critically important point. Lean is not about eliminating jobs. It's about eliminating wasteful work so people can focus on value-adding activities. There's a great quote by Michael Hammer.
Yeah.
He said, "In America today, we have good people working in poor processes. What we want are good people working in great processes." That perfectly captures the spirit. Empower good people by fixing the system they work in.
That's powerful. Good people and great processes. So typical lean project goals might be
Things like reducing inventory levels, freeing up floor space, drastically cutting response times or lead times, slashing defects and rework, boosting overall productivity.
and the benefits organizations see.
They can be huge. Reduced delivery time, faster cycle times, less setup time. Obviously, eliminating waste saves money. Continuous improvement becomes part of the culture. Quality goes up.
Which customers notice.
Absolutely, leading to better customer ratings, satisfaction. And internally, you often see higher employee involvement, better morale, a more positive culture, because people aren't fighting bad processes all day. It can really transform a place.
So Lean and Six Sigma really do sound like two sides of the same coin.
They really are. Six Sigma attacks variation and defects with DMAIC. Lean attacks waste and improves flow. Together, Lean Six Sigma gives you a comprehensive toolkit for making things much, much better.
More efficient, more effective, better for the customer.
Exactly. That's the combined power.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful, I think. A really solid overview of these foundational concepts, especially geared towards you, the listener, getting ready for that white belt certification from the Management and Strategy Institute.
Yeah, we've hit the history, the belts, the DMAIC steps, the core ideas of Lean In, hopefully giving you that clear understanding you need.
Absolutely. And it's worth thinking about, isn't it? How these ideas, improving processes, cutting waste, might apply to your own work or even other parts of your life.
For sure. And remember, the white belt is step one. If this sparks your interest, there are deeper levels, yellow, green, black belt, offering more tools, more responsibility for leading change. The Management and Strategy Institute offers those too, plus others like project management, change management, lots of paths.
Lots to explore. So, as you wrap up listening and start reviewing for your exam, here's something to chew on. Now that you've got this foundation, which specific concepts or tools we discussed today do you think will be most crucial to really lock down for that white belt exam?
Mulling that over will really help solidify things.
Definitely. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive.